How were the most famous Hollywood logos created? The boy with a fishing rod sitting on the moon, which became an icon for DreamWorks. The animated Pixar lamp. The fairy tale palace associated with magic and enchantment. The real lion of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer roaring before the start of a movie. These emblems are just a few examples of how studio symbols have become integral parts of the film industry. Let's take a look and learn how the logos of major film studios were created and evolved. Let's start with the DreamWorks studio logo, depicting a boy sitting on the moon and fishing. This logo is unique and easily recognizable. The idea for the logo came from Steven Spielberg himself, and artist Robert Hunt brought it to life. Initially, the creators considered an option with a man floating to the moon with balloons, but the second sketch featuring a young boy sitting on the moon and fishing was preferred by everyone. The drawing became very personal for the artist, because he used his own son as the model. Thus, the artist's son became the symbol of DreamWorks. Later, the image of the boy on the moon was animated, using animation and visual effects, adding extra dynamism. DreamWorks became known not only for its films, but also for the various versions of its logo that adapted to the spirit of specific movies. The core elements of the logo always remained the same, but were stylized to match the atmosphere and theme of each film. For example, in Gladiator, the logo was tinted with darker tones. Kung Fu Panda replaced the usual boy with an animated hero on the moon. And in Monsters vs. Aliens, a UFO literally sucked the child into its flying saucer. The history of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer studio logo is equally fascinating, as it is indeed one of the most recognizable and oldest logos in the history of cinema. The first appearance of the lion in the MGM logo was in 1917. The image of the lion surrounded by film strips appeared in black and white. Even in the silent film era, the creators wanted the audience to hear the lion's roar. To achieve this, phonographs were used in theaters to project the sound of the lion's roar into the auditoriums, despite the films being silent. In the 1920s, the studio attempted to change the design of the logo by replacing the live lion with a statue. In the 1960s, there were attempts to use stylized lion images in the logo, but each time the studio returned to the original concept with minor design changes. In the 1980s, the lion's roar was synthesized, and it became a distinctive sound of the logo. In the history of the MGM logo, there were 8 different lions. But since 1957, the same lioness named Leo has been used. The roar of the animal in the logo also changed. Initially, it was the roar of a lion, then a panther, and later a cougar. At some point, a photo spread on the internet depicting a lion tied to a table, and MGM was accused of animal cruelty. However, it turned out to be a cruel joke, and real lions were not harmed during the filming. Starting in 2021, the MGM logo began to use the image of an inanimate lion created using computer graphics. The history of the Disney Studio logo is indeed fascinating and reflects the evolution of the brand and its concepts. Here's a brief overview. Starting with the founding of the company, the logo featured the handwritten inscription, Walt Disney. This reflected the personality and name of the studio's founder, Walt Disney, and emphasized his personal and naive approach to his work. In the mid-1980s, Disney's logo underwent a change. The iconic image of Sleeping Beauty's castle was introduced. This castle was inspired by the Bavarian Neuschwanstein Castle, symbolizing magic and fairy tale elements, which are essential to Disney's works. Initially, the castle image was monochromatic and stylized, but over time, it became more realistic and detailed. Despite these design changes, the concept of the logo always remained associated with magic and fairy tales, which are a key part of Disney's identity. The Disney logo became not only a symbol of the studio, but also a symbol of the entire animation industry and children's culture. The famous Pixar logo, with the playful lamp, was created in the mid-1990s. Previous logos of the studio had a significantly different spirit, and the lamp, hopping on the letter I in the company's name, was chosen to emphasize the creativity and creative dynamics of the studio. This interior item was the protagonist of the animated short film Luxo Jur, one of Pixar's earliest projects. This short film, where the lamp played the lead role, served as inspiration for the logo. Pixar also became known for creating various versions of its logo to adapt it to the atmosphere and plot of specific films. For example, in the film WALL-E, the main character, the robot WALL-E, comes on stage to replace a burnt-out light bulb. In the second part of The Incredibles, the logo was painted in red, symbolizing the costumes of the main characters. The Pixar studio logo that we see before a film has become a kind of greeting and the studio's calling card. It informs viewers about the creators of the film and generates expectations of certain emotions and impressions. The logo of the Paramount Studio is truly one of the oldest and almost unchanged symbols in Hollywood. Let's dive into its history. The image known as the Majestic Mountain appeared in the mid-1910s. This image was created by the studio's founder, William Hodkinson. Probably, the producer drew the mountain Ben Lomond, which he was familiar with from his childhood and which is located in Utah. The stars around the mountain in the original version symbolize the 24 major artists who had contracts with the studio at that time. Over time, the number of stars in the logo was reduced to 22. The Paramount logo was originally in black and white. Later, it became colored and acquired a more realistic character, but retained the overall composition. From the 1980s, the logo was created using computer technology, allowing for various styles and appearances. Despite some changes and updates, two elements in the Paramount logo remain unchanged: the stars and the snow-covered mountain landscape. The Paramount logo has become a symbol of stability and recognizability, preserving its historical value while adapting to modern technology and design. The movie studio logo that we see before a film is a kind of greeting, a calling card, and a mark of quality all in one. The emblem not only prepares us for viewing and informs us about the film's creators, but also triggers the recognition effect and suggests the emotions and impressions that await us ahead.